Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wealth Down with me, your host Norbert BM, bringing you the top economic news for today before the bell. And also, we're going to go over the earnings reports for yesterday for the major stocks like Tesla, Coca Cola, and IBM. Also, we're going to go over the major companies reporting earnings today. So let's get started with yesterday. We had a pretty bad day in the market. Most of the market was down, with the S&P 500 closing down negative 0.92%. It was almost at 1.2% yesterday. Then the Nasdaq closed up also negative with 1.55%. Dow Jones closed up negative 0.96%. So the worst performer was actually once again the Dow Jones. Take a look at the futures. S&P Mini is prompt to open up in the positive side today with 0.32% in the positive. Then the Nasdaq also 0.76% in the positive, with everything looking pretty good for today in the markets. Let's also take a look at the top economic events. We only have from Germany the manufacturing PMI report today, which came in with 42.6, forecasted was 40.8, and the prior of 40.6. So let's talk earnings. First of all, yesterday we have earnings from Tesla. Tesla reported excellent earnings yesterday, with the price then jumping up after hours almost 10%. The financial report for Tesla was as following. It had a revenue of 25.2 billion, a up of 8% year-to-year increase, a net income of 2.2 billion, gap up 70% year-to-year. Operating income was 2.7 billion with a 10.8% operating margin. Cash flow was 2.7 million, boosting cash and investment to 33.6 billion. Vehicle deliveries. Tesla delivered over 462,000 vehicles in the Q3 of this year, a 6% year-to-year increase, especially with the Model 3Y deliveries led with over 439,000 units. Energy and services. Tesla's energy business saw record gross margins, 30.5%, driven by strong power and megapack deployments. Energy storage also deployments rose 70% year-to-year. Production capabilities. Tesla's global vehicle production reaches over 469,000 units, and the Cybertruck became the third best-selling EV in the US. On the AI and technology side, Tesla expands AI training capabilities and improves its full self-driving FSD software with over 2 billion miles driven on FSD. The outlook for Tesla expected to slightly grow vehicle deliveries in 2024 for new, more affordable models starting production within 2025. For a more in-depth report on Tesla, please check out the dedicated video that we're going to release later on this channel. Next up, Coca Cola reported earnings yesterday, with the price staying pretty much the same. Coca Cola, their revenue was as following. The net revenue declined 1% to 11.9 billion, but organic revenue non-GAAP grew 9%, primarily driven by 10% growth in price and mix. Concentrated sales decreased by 2%. Operating income declined 23% to 2.5 billion, with a notable decrease in the operating margin from 27.4% later last year, 21.2%. Comparable operating margins improved to 30.7% due to strong organic growth. Earnings per share EPS dropped 7% to 0.66, impacted by a 13-point currency headwind. However, comparable EPS non-GAAP increased with 5% to $0.77 a share. Now to cash flow. Operating cash flow was 2.9 billion, down from last year due to a 6 billion payment for organic tax litigations. Free cash flow, including this payment, was 7.6 billion. Overall market performance for Coca-Cola gained market share in non-alcoholic ready-to-drink beverages, with standout growth from Coca-Cola Zero Sugar and Mart Water, while sparkling water and water saw slight decline. So for the Coca-Cola Company, the company upgraded its guidance, expecting 10% organic revenue growth for 2024, although currency headwinds and inflation pressures are expected to impact their EPS. The next major company was IBM, which reported revenue from $15 billion, that being a 1% year-to-year growth and a 2% constant currency. Software revenue is up to 65 billion, a roughly 9.7%. Consulting revenue was down 55.2 billion, meaning a 0.5%, and infrastructure revenue was also down 7% with 3 billion. Profitability. Gross profit was 8.4 billion. Gross profit margin was 66.3 million. Gross profit margin was 56.3%, up 190 basis points year-to-year. Net income was minus 370 million due to a one-time pension settlement charge. Operating income non-GAAP was 2.2 billion, and adjusted EPS was $2.3 per share, point of 5% year-to-year. Now let's talk about cash flow. Free cash flow for the quarter was 2.1 billion. A year-to-date free cash flow of 6.6 billion. A cash return on shareholders via dividend, a 1.5 billion in quarter 3. So the key highlights for IBM would be that double-digit software growth led by Red Hat, which increased 14%, and automation increased 13%. AI business grew grew to over 3 billion quarterly bookings, and of course, fourth quarter revenue drove expectations to be consistent with quarter three. Overall, a really good report for IBM, and the stock drop cannot be explained momentarily. Now let's take a look at today's companies that are going to report earnings. First, we have S&P Global due to report earnings in just a couple of hours. The stock is pretty much up before the earnings. Then we have United Pacific reporting earnings, Honeywell International reporting earnings today, UPS reporting earnings, and within the banks we also have Barclays reporting earnings today. Actually, they already reported, and their stock just grew almost 3%. So all in all, the Nasdaq is due to report earnings today, and Dow, the energy company, also due to report earnings today. So all in all, a pretty interesting day. Hope you liked this video, and if you did, give it a like. Also subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell in order to get notified when we post new videos like this. We post from Mondays to Fridays, and on the weekend we do our portfolio review with what we bought and sold and why we did it. With this said, I'm Norbert BM, wishing you a lovely and safe day. Catch you next time. Bye bye.